So inside we were talking a bit about the fears and the biggest things that tend to hold novice property investors back from getting started or scaling their portfolio. So whilst we're on a break, we thought we'd jump outside and get some fresh air, and I've got a few questions from behind the camera to just enlighten everybody else about what goes on in most people's mindsets when they are trying to get into property.
The first thing for me is when I've been speaking with you or looking at properties, my worry is if I get the first one wrong, I'll have lost all the money that it's taken me ages to build up, and I'm struggling to get past that. What would your advice be?
I think good deal analysis combats that. Yes, you've got to educate yourself and you've got to get the knowledge for that deal analysis. But one of the biggest things I see is people jump into deals. They maybe more often not buy off deal sources, and they believe because they're a deal source that they've got the right information. So ultimately that comes down to investing in yourself first, getting educated, making sure you understand where you're going, and then really you shouldn't have any losses. But also, if you think about it, most people think about the total loss, i.e. I'm going to pay £1,000 rent plus my bills and stands me 1,500 quid a month. You're not going to lose 1,500 quid a month. If you have some form of analysis in it, you will get some bookings. So let's say you got £1,300 a month worth of bookings. Yes, you might lose 200 quid, but you're not going to lose the full 1,500 quid that most people think of. So it's damage limitation if you do get a bad egg or a bad unit. But ultimately, for me, it comes down to the acquisition part of it. The money's not made about how much you can generate from your revenue from guests or tenants. It's made on what you rent the property at.
Do you still get scared when you're doing deals? Do you worry?
Not so much now, but there is always in the back of your mind, have I got it right? Have I not got it right? Will it work? Will it not work? But experience and seeing it play out time and time again profitably gives you the confidence that you can kick on. I guess now as well is I don't look at it as an individual basis anymore. I look at it as how much has the company made per month. So some properties might lose a bit of money, other properties will gain a lot of money, and overall, what is the net revenue per month? But as your first few, obviously you're very focused on just that one property and making sure that makes money. But there's also other ways to grind a result out, which I think we've seen through COVID. Service accommodation shut down end of March, April. People always relied on Airbnb and Booking.com to just bring the bookings in without having to do anything else. Everyone had to revert to a direct marketing strategy. How can we drag bookings in? How can we operate like a proper business, market like a proper business, and drive sales in the front door? Whilst I've still got your attention, if you're enjoying this video content, then there's plenty more where it came from. Don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe to the channel. And there's links in the description which give you other videos exactly like this one to help you on your property journey.
What do you do outside of business to kind of control your mindset or anxiety or worries? Is there like a routine you've got, that you do daily? Or
fitness. I'm a big believer in fitness, so I like to work out. I like to get energetic and let your mind wander a bit. I used to do a lot of running, so I used to run without headphones, so you can just stay in your own mind space really. I think it's good to get away from things at times. And then obviously just your kids and other time out with friends, and just taking a seat out of the business totally. So, but fitness is a big thing for me. I like to play sport and get your mind off things, get a bit competitive.
If you could go back now, knowing what you know, to your first property, your first deal, what would you tell yourself when you were getting started? Because you must have had worries and fears.
I'm probably on the opposite end of the risk-averse sort of scale. So I've never really suffered too much from anxiety or stress or worry. I'm definitely a sort of 2 feet first challenge type person. I'll go in and figure it out later, which is great in many aspects, but it can also serve as a bit of a hindrance where sometimes you do go into stuff that you probably shouldn't without thinking about it too much, without analysing it too much. So I would probably, some of the earlier stuff is okay, it's not great. Would I still take them on? Probably yes, knowing my personality, but it might not have been for the faint-hearted or those that are very risk-averse. So you've got to know where you are on that metric as to what your anxiety can take. There's no point losing sleep over trying to get into rent-to-rent or get into property investing or owning property. I do remember, and this makes me laugh now, my very first buy-to-let that I owned, I remember taking the keys for it and worrying that night if it would get burgled because no one was in it. And now I just think of like the amount of properties now that we've, you know, maybe got sat empty a few nights a week or whatever it might be, and that just doesn't bother me. But only experience and time can get you past that sort of stuff, and ultimately you've got to get started to get good at it. So, you know, if you don't get started, you're never going to experience that, and you're never going to be able to push through those fears.
And just quickly, what would be your like sage, solid bit of advice to give to someone that's just starting out, like to get past that worry, to get past that fear?
It's never as bad as probably what you think it's going to be in your head. Imperfect action's better than no action at all. And, you know, I always look at the opportunity cost. So by not doing it, how much does that cost me financially, as opposed to doing it and it paying off? You know, if I constantly thought about the negative side of it all, then where would I be right now? You know, how much smaller would it be for me right now, as opposed to just going into it, giving it a go? The worst case scenario with rent to rent is most landlords are quite open and, you know, people, and if you get into a bad deal, I'm pretty sure you can have quite a sensible conversation with the landlord and just say, it's not working, what can we do about it? Can I pay an exit fee? Can I cut my losses? Can we come to some sort of agreement? It's not great, and that's not going to help you get any future deals, but if that's what it is, that's what it is, and that's the way it's got to be. So there's always ways out of it. A lot of people think, oh, if I don't pay, I'm going to get taken to court, I'll get CCJs. That never really happens. You know, I think you just got to get into the agreements. The way we do it, we're pretty much direct to landlord all the time. So it means that we can have those conversations if it's not going well. Thanks for watching this video. There's plenty more awesome content where this came from. As I said, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and continue watching the videos. And if you really want to get ahead of the game, then join my private Facebook group. Just head over to Facebook, 7-Figure Property Empire. Click the link to join and we'll get you on the inside.